This was not his finest moment, and I'm pretty sure he was not very happy going back into the crowd, not having scored the points he thought he was going to score.
And this right here, she went in on this. Take a look.
I want to know why you support a president who contributes to the rhetoric that got your friend Charlie killed. We saw his rally recently. He said, "I hate my enemies." Stephen Miller said similar things. How can you support him when he contributed to what got Charlie killed?
Assumes facts, not evidence. What you said is not true.
70% of political violence is committed by Republicans.
Okay.
Look it up.
That's not
DOJ just pulled it. DOJ just pulled it from their website. DOJ just pulled the study from their website because they're delusional.
That's not true because
it just pulled it. Look it up.
Once you pull
pulled it from their website.
Once you pull the crazies out of there, it is overwhelmingly left-wing violence.
Google it.
We have had
every single person in the audience. Google it right now.
You know, this is how we get here. So first of all, let me take on the first part of the premise of your question, that it was President Trump's rhetoric that led to an assassin killing our friend Charlie Kirk. That's a blatant lie. It's a defamatory blaspheme, and it's inappropriate in the setting.
That's not what I said.
We know. Yes, it is.
No, I said he contributed to the political atmosphere.
Well, then you have no point. Then your point is utterly empty. Contributing to the atmosphere. This guy was. No, let's just make clear. This guy was motivated by leftist ideology. We know it from the bullet casings. We know it from the Utah governor. We know it from his own mother. So, yes, we do. Let's be really clear on this.
Even if that's true, so then you're saying, because let's say this guy's a leftist, even if that's true, does that make it okay for the sitting president of the United States to incite violence against liberals?
The president of the United States has not accepted violence against liberals. The president of the United States made a joke at the Charlie Kirk memorial, which was funny and self-deprecating. It was on the heels of Erica Kirk saying she, in an extraordinary moment, forgave her husband's killer. And let me finish. And then President Trump got up and making a joke, playing off of what Erica said. He said, "We disagree. I need to do better. Erica's going to try to convince me, but I'm in a different place." And that's completely normal for a politician to be thinking about his political fights. And by the way, Trump has every right to loathe his enemies. They tried to put him in jail for the rest of his life. They tried to bankrupt him. They tried to put his family in jail. They tried to kill him.
Criminal.
Wait. Okay, now you go.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to say, I was listening to her response, and the guy, that study he was talking about, interestingly enough, see all my papers here? I was starting to research that study that was pulled from the DOJ, and I was starting to do some research on politically motivated violence. So I was just glad that, it was interesting that he mentioned that, because I have all this stuff that I pulled that I need to read, and I want to read and get some notes from, not just that study, but politically motivated violence over whatever the time frames are. So I was just wanted to show you my study here, literature, I guess I could say.
Yeah, Nicole, what did you think about Megyn Kelly's response?
You know, I think it's interesting that Megyn Kelly is doing it, because Megyn is an attorney. You know, she's a lawyer, and she does have a way of looking at a particular set of facts and making the facts kind of highlight the issues in your argument. So having a debate against a lawyer when you're a college student is probably not smart, just generally speaking. However, I don't think this kid wanted to make a debate. I don't think he wanted to make an argument. I think he was trying to make a point. I think he was trying to slam Trump and make the right feel some kind of sense of responsibility for the assassination of our friend Charlie Kirk. It's not going to work. It hasn't worked for the attorneys that work for the Democrat Party, as they tried to do that from the day of the memorial all the way up to this morning. Better people than him have tried that argument and have gotten shut down the same way he has. This kid really, really should stop asking Grok to solve his problems for him. Maybe do a little bit more research, actually read the study like Shelley's planning to do, get to know what's going on. And if you have a bee in your bonnet about Donald Trump, so be it. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to have that be in your bonnet. But when you start making jumps from the president of the United States telling a joke to him being responsible for someone's assassination or radicalizing some leftist furry loving, trans guy, that's a big jump. Even for, a college student, that's a really big jump. So this was not his finest moment. And I'm pretty sure he was not very happy going back into the crowd, not having scored the points he thought he was going to score.
Yeah. I feel really sorry for a lot of young people these days, and old really, because you really have to do your research to uncover facts and data nowadays. Because honestly, the media, the way that they put out this information, even when you do a surface level research into this stuff, it does look like there is more violence committed by the right or so-called right-wing agitators than it is on the left. But one of the issues that's adding to that is the way it's reported. For instance, what was it? The person who tried to kill Kavanaugh, I believe, or committed that violence against him, he turned out to be trans. So a lot of them are not reporting these people that are trans or that do have left wing, that are motivated by the left wing rhetoric. It's not being reported that this was caused by left-wing violance. They're still saying there's no such thing as Antifa. They're still out here saying this in the news. I think it was on CNN they were saying so-called Antifa. Yeah. They're saying that there's no such thing. When we saw with our own eyes, Antifa and far left groups have rioted, have committed all types of violence in Portland, Seattle, DC, here in Baltimore, all over the country. These people have done this.
Exactly.
And then you got to add in the soft on crime policies that fuel violence. These here in Baltimore again, in California, in Philadelphia, these Democrat DAs and governors releasing violent offenders in the name of equity, and these sanctuary cities that harbor these illegals. All of this stems from left-wing, leftist policies, which, as we say on here, is Marxism.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, you're right. And I think Josh made that point. Not only that, they're not reporting, they're not even tracking certain things.
Right.
So
exactly.
When you read a lot of research, when we get the research, a lot of it has been summarized, if you will, and put out in the media, whatever the press conferences are. So we get the highlights. Many of us don't go back, have time. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying we don't go back to look at not only the abstract and the findings. We don't ask about the methodology. What's actually included in whatever X is? Because if you are excluding some things, you might get different results. And a good research will tell you that they will say we didn't include X, but here's why. And they will tell you that. They won't just not tell you or not include it and not tell you. Good research has the whole has a mirror on itself, if you will. It tells you why some things are excluded or included. So that's good research. It's not just the highlights, what we typically hear. Again, back to, just looping it back to the Tylenol scare. This is why I said President Trump should not have led that press conference. The audience, the public deserve to have more definitive information about why they were suggesting that Tylenol not be taken. Not just President Trump saying, don't take it, tough it out, all that stuff. That's for a different environment or different arena. It was not the time for that at that particular press conference.
I agree with you on that, Shelley. There are certain things when you're having a very serious conversation, that was not the way you present that information. But you're absolutely right about how research and studies are performed. The goal is to make sure that someone else can come behind you and replicate what happened, like all of the Tylenol studies. Easily, Easily. I think there's probably maybe 15 or 20 studies that have been published in medical journals of people replicating and getting similar results. And they do explain why they left things out. But when you talk about crime statistics, they act like it's not, like it's in the eye of the beholder. And they talk about the guy who assaulted Paul Pelosi. And the first thing they said is that he was a Republican. Really? I don't know many Republican homeless men who wear Birkenstocks who attack people in their homes. That's just not how we do it. I'm just going to put that out there. Right. But this is my point even bigger. Who cares? I didn't see that with Paul Pelosi as political violence. I saw that as a homeless man in San Francisco doing what homeless men in San Francisco do, right? When I talk political violence, I think of Steve Scalise getting shot at a congressional baseball game in a stadium full of people where they were aiming at the Republicans. That's what we call political violence. So, people play with words, and we know Democrats love creating new languages. It's what they do best. They play a lot of games with words, and it's unfortunate. This young man who came up to the microphone is a shining example of someone who's already been indoctrinated, a shining example of what's already happening in his mind. This is not a kid who's going to say, you know what, maybe they had a good point. Let me go back and take a look. He's going to go back to his dorm and stew in his juice and get even angrier and even more radicalized than he was before he stepped up to that microphone. This is going to breed more hate and contempt in his heart. We have to find a better way, folks. We have to find a better way. Democrats are not going to back down from the rhetoric. They've already proven that. So we have to find a way to be able to reach our young people and give them something better to hold on to than this hate.
Yeah. And folks, it's not random. And I'm glad that President Trump is looking into that and talking about RICO when it comes to people like Open Society and things like that. These people are organized. They have money. They're being funneled money, and they're being put into these different organizations, these different NGOs all over the country. It's systemic. Violence is the left's weapon because they can't win on truth. And basically, it's time we call them out. It's political terrorism. That's what it is. Left, right, up, down, whatever you want to call it. It's political terrorism. We have to call them out. And I love that they're doing this on these campus tours, continuing Charlie Kirk's legacy. And that's why we do what we do on this channel as well. All right.